Today I'm going to work with some abstraction and trying some new techniques. So first thing I have is an old good RX credit card. I went and got a knife out of my kitchen. I have a little squirt bottle, a mister. I have salt, of course. And let's see, what else do I have here? I have a dropper. And I did go and get a couple of plastic containers that I could pour paint into. And but I might, instead of pouring, just use this dropper. It's a little easier. So those are my primary tools that I plan to use. I'll possibly spatter. I'll possibly end up using one of my micron pens. And I do have a straw in case I feel like blowing paint. So I'm pretty well prepared and I'm excited about trying something new. But I'm going to try out more of a limited palette because I think that's easier for demo purposes. Okay, so, all right, so I have my cling wrap. I'm going to get something going so that I can, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. So here's my big thing of cling wrap. And I'm going to start with just doing a wash in the foreground of some of these beautiful dark textures. And I think just for purposes of creating a really dark tone, I'll go ahead and use some Prussian blue. Is Prussian blue a staining color?
Yes, it stains.
Oh, so maybe I better be a little bit careful with that. So for that reason, I'll start with cobalt blue and burnt sienna. Looks at here so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, Tim, I wanted to share, I haven't really had a chance to look at what you said you set up your palette, but I really want to see that. So remind me if you have that handy. I want to have you show that to people before the end of class. Now I'm putting in some burnt sienna. So what happens when you mix cobalt blue or ultramarine blue and burnt sienna is you get a nice dark. It's almost a gray, but you can tint it cool or warm depending upon whether you put more burnt sienna or more cobalt or ultramarine in it. So I've got this mixed up. I'm going to start with the usual, which is that I'm going to start with a wash of the lighter values and the lighter colors. So what I'm seeing up here, I'm not going to do a drawing first because I want it to be more abstract. I'm going to lay in some water, and it does have a little blue on it just because I was using the brush to mix. So this is the waterfall area. And I'm going to drop in some color at the top. This is cobalt. And then I'm going to use some Viridian as it comes down. And a little bit of a more of a yellowish green too over here on the side. So a little bit of lemon yellow in here. now. Gonna wet some of the side here. And drop in some Prussian. And then the combination that I have here of the cobalt and burnt sienna.
It does look almost black.
Yeah, doesn't it? It's amazing. This is a little bit of the Prussian here. And spraying slightly here where I want it to drip a bit. Now I want to have some warms in there too, so I'm gonna, this is just burnt sienna. Come over to the other side.
Please repeat what color you're using.
Some Prussian blue, but a mixture of ultramarine or cobalt blue and burnt sienna.
Lower left. That's beautiful.
This is Prussian on this side right now. Now I've got to mix up a little bit more of the cobalt and burnt sienna. Just for fun, let's do this where we blow with a straw.
Et voila, a tree.
Yeah, and easy as pie. Donna, you inspired me with your blossoms and you and Yana. I had to do it.
That was a fun one. I actually did a little bit with a rigger after I blew with the straw.
Oh, neat.
And that was a wash of blue, pink, and yellow in the background.
Oh, okay. Now I'm mixing up some cobalt and rose madder genuine because I want a violet. And I'm using the transparents. And I want to put that in here too, in some places, because I see some violets and I want to get some different colors on one side. I need to put some on this side too, just so it's not just in one spot. But I thought something going and I think I need a little bit more up in here. Maybe a little bit of green while I still have the wetness. And here I'll use a little sap green because sap green is a little bit brighter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try my plastic wrap now. I'm going to pull it and push it so that I get some areas that are darker than others. I forgot to put my microphone back on.
We can hear you.
I don't think you need it.
I don't know. I'm just going to try it and see if it makes a difference in the recording. Okay. So I don't know if it's actually not seeing darker lines. I wanted to see some darker lines. It may not work as well on this side. Let's see.
What was the brush you were using?
The brush, it was a number 24.
Great big fat brush.
Yeah. Okay, now what I'm going to do is get some heavy books and put on top of it. And hope that it dries, but it's so humid right now. I don't know if it will. So excuse me a minute, I'll be right back. Actually, it's looking like it did do something. Look at that.
Wow.
Wow.
It's pretty neat, huh?
Really great.
Okay. Well, this is the best one I've done so far with this technique. Now what I want to do is I do want to look at the photo again. And just take a look at what I love about the photo to see where I need to enhance things here. And what I'm seeing in the photo is that there's a light, really light waterfall here, and then there's a lighter cliff back here. So I'm going to do some painting of this cliff back here and and then do some negative space painting to make this foreground area stand out. I don't think I'm going to do a lot to this part that has the texture because I like it so much. I'll just see what I can do to enhance what I have. Any suggestions when you look at this?
Nope.
Okay. I also like the colors. They're somewhat subtle as opposed to the one I just worked on. So it's good to have a little separation between the palettes.
The colors are great.
Okay, so now I'm looking at this cliff back here and it's kind of, I want it to be more in the receding area. So I'm going to clean my palette a little because what I have here is pretty dark. And I'm going to go with it's a little bit of a green, a blue green. So I'm using some Viridian and some cobalt. I also have some manganese. I don't know if you ever work with manganese, but it's kind of a neat color.
It's hard to get true manganese anymore. I have some very old manganese I discovered on my palette, and I'm glad I have it.
Yeah.
Pretty unique.
Is that because it's considered toxic or what?
No, it was a rare metal,
Oh, okay.
aircraft alloys and stuff.
I see.
I have
But I
some
think-
really old too.
I think Rublev, I think you can get, there's a company called Rublev that you can get colors that are otherwise difficult to get.
Mhm. So this is combination of the manganese and a little bit of the gray that I had mixed up with the burnt sienna and ultramarine. I'm looking at the shape of the waterfall. And painting around the shape. Making it lighter as it comes down into the mist. And now on the other side, I also see a shape like that. There's a little bit of greenery here on the back here behind. Now I'm getting some darker tones. With my burnt sienna mixture. Cobalt, but it's got some warmth in it. It has the burnt sienna. Down toward the bottom, I want to get a little bit of violet in the mix. Okay, so still with some of that violet I've got going on down there, I'm putting in a cliff on this side. where these rays of light that are coming across. Now with the warmer tones, I'm doing the rocks in the foreground. Maybe darker.
Are you using a different brush for each color?
No. I just, I don't have that kind of a mind.
Ah.
I just pick up the size that I want and not worry about the color.
Mhm.
Especially when I'm working with these darker colors.
Almost looks like it has an Oriental influence.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? It's Yana's fault for introducing us to that. Remember that whatever's in the foreground area, if you want it to have come forward, add a little warmer tone to the color. I'm using sap green right now. Okay, the main thing now is for me to bring out this cliff here on this side and to help to define, I mean, you know, I guess I need to come back in with more here too, just to separate it, but I'm gonna try not to paint too much of what I did with the plastic wrap. That's my goal. So maybe if I look at the places like in the demo we watched where she looked at some of the shapes created by the plastic wrap. And this is where it might help not to look at the photo.
Yeah, you're doing it. You know, what else you're doing that's working is you're eliminating the white negative spaces and just keeping the white where you want the streaking light and the waterfall and so on.
That's what I'm hoping, yeah, that I'll follow through with that. Okay, so over to this side. I have to make a little bit of a transition, but I don't want to lose the texture either, so. Okay, I see another tree back there now that I want to try to put in a little more definition in this area. So I'm going to start coming back up into this area. Need to get my other brush that's skinnier. This wonderful brush I got not long ago. I love it. It's the number 6, the Princeton Velvet Touch Bright. And I'm going to hold my brush like this so that I don't get too tight with it. don't think you can really see that, but I'm trying to not use it as a pencil, but more as a twig.
Yeah, we can see it. It looks great.
Okay. And I'm doing some negative space painting just to indicate that there's some grasses in this foreground area on the top of this ridge. Okay, now I'm going to come back in and paint a little dark here. Give a little of the opposite effect.
Is that about an 8 by 10?
No.
Oh, no, that's a quarter sheet.
Yeah, it's a quarter sheet.
Okay. Yeah, I see you've got it in your frame.
Yes. Okay, I need to create a little bit more focus or contrast in this area. So I probably shouldn't look at the photo right now because I might just try to follow it instead of using my, what I know. So I'll go ahead and deprive myself of that. So now if I don't look at that, now I think, okay, maybe I can do something on this side too. That's a little more interesting. It does limit you some if you have a photo because you keep referring to it and it interferes with your own design sense. Okay, I'm going to introduce a little bit of a warm tone up in here. I'm going to spray it first. I don't think you can see it very well. It's very light opera. Now I'm going to put some in the foreground too, because I want to carry it through. This has a little bit of orange in it here. I know it needs something else in here. Does anybody have any ideas? I think I need to tie some of this together.
Without referring to the photo?
Without referring to it.
Oh,
Or maybe I should look at it.
might not hurt.
Maybe some of those lines like you've got on the right in the background to define a little more,
Like this,
down to the left a little bit.
like this.
Yeah, up in there, the blue ones.
The
Yeah.
water lines.
Define it a little bit more stronger.
Just a little, not much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Maybe,
Not too dark.
is that too dark?
Well, it's kind of dry lighter, so who knows?
I'd blot it just a tiny bit, but
Yeah,
that's just me.
I appreciate that because I don't.
Yeah, you want to get the sense of the receding distance, so
Right,
lighter as it recedes.
like it's not connected enough.
Lighter is better.
And then maybe a few like branch or leaves and stuff up here.
Yeah, even that, just a mass tone, a generalized mass tone.
Mhm. Because we want the eye to be directed to the center area. And now this looks funny. Let me look at the photo. Yeah, I'm going to stop pretty soon with this and look at the other one, but I also want to give you all a chance to show what you're working on and look at the voice thread. So. All right,
What
one
is the,
thing.
what is the brand of the brush you're using? It's so soft.
Yeah, this, I guess, was it this one that I just used? Oh, it's so old that the brand is rubbed off.
Oh, it's a rub-off brush. Okay.
Synthetic. And I think I bought it from my friend Howard Reese, so I could ask him what kind was it, Howard? But yeah, it's one of those synthetics and it holds a shape too, even though it is soft.
Exactly.
Well,
Okay.
will you kindly post your paintings to VoiceThread afterwards? I'm going to have to leave a little early today, and I really want to be able to study them. Thank you.
Oh, okay, I will. Oh, one question before I stop on this. Does it look like this needs some darker tones in this area?
Yes, I think so, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think you could also just put in a couple of little dots of bright green for the kind of little plants that grow on rocks.
Yeah, you mean on this side?
Yeah, just little, well, just the way little plants grow in cliff crevices.
Yeah.
If there were just a couple of little dabs here and there, it would look pretty cool.
Also, I might do some spatter.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, let me get some
Yeah,
spatter.
spatter's better than over delineating, I think.
Yeah,
You could also think about not having that one line of the waterfall so straight. It is catching my eye too much. It is very, very straight. Yeah.
oh yeah, maybe soften some edges.
It just wouldn't be that straight in nature. It would be sort of, you know, in an,
Okay. Oh dear, I had some paint on this brush.
I mean, the left side of it. The left side of it is very contrasted.
Oh, are you talking about this side?
No,
Sorry, the other side, my left.
Yeah,
The very edge of that rocky thing is so straight. The whole thing.
the very edge of the waterfall or the rock?
I'm not sure. The rock, I guess, could be the rock. Way over towards the middle. Anyways, just a suggestion.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused, but I do see that it would be helpful if I put something else up here. Got to keep me from noodling, you guys.
Well, it depends on how much force of water there is as to whether it falls straight or not.
I think I'll do a little bit of spatter with some white, like it's spraying.
Right. And it also depends on whether the back of the waterfall has been eaten out, which can happen sometimes.
Yeah.
We used to go to a falls up in the Cascades where it just fell straight down from, I don't know, 100 feet up, because over the years, the back had been kind of hollowed out.
Was that Snoqualmie Falls?
No, it was called Rainbow Falls, and it was up in Stehekin at the head of Lake Chelan.
Oh, yeah, I never did make it over there.
Gorgeous. But Snoqualmie Falls is fabulous. Snoqualmie Falls, my memory is you wind up at the top of it and looking down. The falls in Stehekin Valley, you're usually at the bottom looking up.
Oh, yeah. I like the spatter.
That really adds a lot to it. It's kind of amazing.
Isn't that funny? Just a little thing like that. Now I
Yeah.
have some gouache here with green, and I'm gonna spatter some of that on here. I should use a little more spatter technique.
Love it. Thank you.
Maybe a little over here too.
is that wet on wet or?
All right.